Well, welcome to my favourite venue in the British Isles, the wonderful River Wye. How many times have I said wonderful River Wye in my time? We're on a stretch called Lower Cannon Bridge. We filmed here the second day of the season last year for Fishing Gurus. Had a bit of a struggle, but I agreed to come back to do a little feature today. It's by far the most productive stretch of the River Wye and the Wye and Us Foundation stretches that I've ever fished, but quite possibly the most beautiful. We've got botanical gardens on the far bank just over there. We've got probably 900 yards of river all to ourselves, and trust me, we have covered every single inch of it so far this morning. The river is very low, very clear. It's very, very sunny as well, so it's by far ideal conditions to catch barbel during the day, even on a productive river such as the Wye. And you can clearly see in the swims that I've caught from here before, you can clearly see the bottom. You can see that there's very little weed growth so far this year, and you can also see that there's no fish in there. So what we've decided to do is sort of rove around and sprinkle a few baits into some of the deeper, slower areas, because like I said, all of the more pacey, oxygenated stretches on this river at the moment seem to be completely devoid of fish, which is a bit weird, because this time of year after spawning they'd be looking for grub, but also looking for the most oxygenated water to sort of revitalise themselves, and they don't seem to be there. So I've basically wandered around, found a few swims, and instead of bait dropping hemp and pellet like I normally do, I've literally, because the pace is very, very slow and we're quite low, I've just literally sprinkled in some medium ellipse pellets with the catapult, probably only between 15 and 20 over in there. I'm not fishing spots now, I'm fishing just a little area, and hopefully when my feeder goes in, that's the cherry on the top really. And we're going to rove around. It doesn't scream an awful lot of fish today, if I'm absolutely honest, but I've said it time and time again, the River Wye is probably the only venue on the planet that I would pay to go to and blank. It is that beautiful, and I think almost like my golf game, we're going to see every single part of this stretch today, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll catch our first river fish of the season. Chub or barbel, I don't care. As long as we get one of them 3-foot twitches, that'll do me. Well, I wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't say it was a 3-foot twitch. It was more like a 3-inch twitch, but it was hooked, and it's a fish. And I don't think it's a barbel. It's a lovely little chub. I did say we couldn't see what we were fishing for. And the truth of the matter is, I didn't do a 300-mile journey this morning and leave home at 3 o'clock in the morning for a wonderful little chub like this, but it is my first fish of the season. Yeehaw! And it is a wonderful little chub. And where there's chub, hopefully there's barbel. But if not, well, we ain't blanked. Well, certainly not the biggest chub I've ever caught, but I honestly don't think I've caught more perfect specimen than this. Look at that. The colours on it are absolutely phenomenal. And it's the first fish of the season on running water. That is pucker. They don't have to be big on this river to be beautiful. And that is an absolute stunner. You little bugger. Soak me. I'll see you when you're 6 pounds. Very good bite, that. Look at that. Something's obviously had a go at it, and that, I mean, the River Wye is famous for its beautiful chub and barbel, but this is what they have to go through. They've got predators upon predators, otters, cormorants, mink, pike, and that could easily have been a big pike have a go at that, but that one has seen quite a few floods, quite a few incidences, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much. What did I say in the intro? This is by far the most prolific stretch of the River Wye I've ever visited. Well, 3 casts, 3 fish on. Making a right mockery of me, but look. Oh, there it goes. Anyway, 3 casts, 3 chub, and remember, you're getting loads of feeder knocks. Shorten your hook length down. I've even had it down as short as 3 inches, and it rocks off straight away. See what you do 4 in 4. Well, we didn't quite make it. 4 chucks, 4 fish. This is the 5th chuck and the 4th fish. For some reason, there was quite a few things sort of happened in once. We had a canoeist stop right over the spot. My cameraman, Sean, bless him, has fell down the bank and cut all his arms. And, oh, it's come right in the edge. What's happening here? This feels, what's happened? Feels quite heavy, you know. It's just swung right in. Oh, I'll tell you what's happened. It's a chub. I thought it might have been a, hey, here we go. Little bugger got me round one little twig just down there. I saw him. He's kited all the way down on the tight line. I thought for 1 second, because it took off and started taking a bit of line, it might well be a barbel, but it's obviously just a really healthy chub. So this time last year, there was still a remnants of fish that were sort of spawning a little bit, but I always try and stay well clear, and there's absolutely no signs of fish spawning this year. So obviously with the quite a warm spring that we've had and the low water conditions, they've got that well out of the way, which is nice to see. So hopefully when I come back down here in October, when they're fighting fit and nice and plump, there'll be a few big ones. Oh, that's a lovely fish. Never going to catch a PB chub off the River Wye, but they are one of my favourite species, and I'll never turn my nose up, and that one is the best one of the day. Woo! Oh, I'm up the tree. Lovely. I was just saying I'll move if this one don't rock off. I might just have one more cast in here. Well, there we go. Still not a barbel, but that's 4 fish down in only 5 casts. We spent probably 2 hours walking up and down this entire stretch trying to locate fish, and the truth of the matter is we saw 1 barbel and 2 chubs, so I thought it was going to be a really difficult day, but you know, I'm absolutely fine with a bag of chub, even though we come down here for the barbel. Absolutely fine. Look at that. It's a beautiful specimen for the River Wye. They don't grow to 7s and 8 pounds like they do on some of the southern rivers. A 4 or 5 pounder on the River Wye is a very, very good stamp of fish, and that ain't a million miles off. So yeah, one happy boy. Oh, there you go. Well, I hope the old canoes don't come in on the inside, because I might be in a bit of a pickle. I thought this was a barbel initially because it did tear off downstream again, but it might just be a nice big chub again. Talk about peace and quiet on the River Wye, eh? Well, I was just sitting here with Sean, my cameraman, saying, well, we need a few cutaways, so we'll try and get one more chub and then we'll move off, see if we can find some barbel. And well, what a jammy little sod. I've got one. Oh, it ain't a bad fish either. I think I might be staying put a little longer. What a belter. Look at the dorsal fin poking, look at that. Nice one. Come on, sweetheart. In you come. Hey. There we go. That big. They're all that big. You should know that by now. Between the eyes, that is. Oh, wonderful. And a little crowd too. Well, as you can clearly see, the fish is almost ready to go back, but I haven't even taken it out to have a look at it yet. First things first, when you hook a barbel and land it, especially this time of year, not long after spawning, when the river's low, clear, and there's not a lot of oxygen, is give them at least 4 or 5 minutes rest before you even think about getting them out onto a massive unhooking mat. These fish, all fish in fairness, but these in particular fight so hard, and this time of year they're very, very fragile. So give them at least 4 or 5 minutes before you even think about getting your camera gear out and stuff like that. And that is one of the reasons why I always use a very, very big, deep pan net, because I've had barbel at 15 pound in here and they can sort of swim around and right themselves really easily. So first things first, when you're barbel fishing, make sure these beauties go back healthy. Well, there we go. I'm getting bitten to bits by mozzies. Get off of me. But look at that. The first barbel of every single season is always special, and I try to make sure it's off of this beautiful river behind us. Look at the size of that dorsal as well. So proud, fought so hard. That is going back fit and fighting well. And come October time, when I come back to this river, it'll have a nice big fat belly on it, and it'll be even bigger. But look at that, size really doesn't matter on this place. Awesome. Well, it might seem a little bit stupid after just putting back my first barbel of the season, having 7 chucks in one swim and having 5 fish or something thereabouts. Counting's never been my strong point, even though I used to be a decathlete and it's all based on numbers. But the theory behind it, and this is one of the reasons why I love fishing the Wine Us Foundation stretches, is that, you know, you and a friend, 20 quid each or thereabouts, pay for the entire stretch. So you can walk up and down, bait every single swim if you want and fish them on rotation, and that's pretty much what we did this morning. You know, I just flicked a few medium ellipse pellets out into the swims that I thought looked reasonable, but now I know there's a few fish there and I know the spot because I've had a few fish off of it. I've bait dropped very accurately, and the theory behind it is now I'm going to wander around, play around pretty much for the next hour, 90 minutes and let that swim settle. I'll definitely go back in there and probably spend the rest of the day in there if I don't get any action on the rest of the stretch, but for now, it's jungle warfare. I'm going down there, turning left, where no man's been for the last 3 months, and I'm going to see if I can get me another one. See, this is the reason why I go wandering. A lot of people, once they've found a few fish, they just sit there and completely muller one swim. Well, you don't know what you're missing. If you're going to pay for the whole stretch for the whole day, you may as well see it. Like I said earlier on, that's my theory with golf. Why take 70 shots when you can take 170? Oh dear, it's only small, but it's a... well, I say it's only small. Ooh, it ain't a bad chub. And it only took, what, 2 minutes in a new swim? A little bit of effort. I said it wouldn't be that prolific. It's turned out to be quite a good day. Well, you could call me the chub whisperer. Thank you very much, my darling. I don't mind. If that's all I catch today, it's been an absolute blinder, but I've got a sneaky feeling that the more swims I fish, the more fish I'll catch. But what a belter. What's happening here? It's gone right downstream. Where is it? My God, that fish has swum literally right up the bank. I've had to pull it off the bank. What a weird chub. It's another chub, but in the last swim where we was fishing sort of directly in front of us and we was paying out a bow of line, the bites tend to be big thumps and then dropbacks where they're actually dislodging the lead and you're getting a bit of slack line. Here, where we're fishing almost slightly directly downstream, the bites are much more like the classic 3-foot twitch, you know, the savage pull rounds. And even from a chub like this, and I ain't mucking around, I've got 10-pound drag line on here and a 2¼ pound infinity. I'll tell you what, I'm not kidding, that ain't an half bad chub. Yeah! 2 chucks in my second swim, 2 chub, and that is an absolute belter. Let me tell you, that's a very good stamper chub for the River Wye. Come the winter, well, that's definitely going to be well into the 5-pound mark. I'm not sure what it weighs at the moment. I'm not going to stress her out and put her through it, but what an awesome bite. What an awesome fight. The markings and the colour of them, superb, absolutely superb. I do love this river. Does it show? Well, that is no laughing matter, even though I got the bite before I could even step up the step. Oh, bless it. I'm not sure it's a big fish, but it was going for this tree down here in the inside. But one of the reasons why I'm getting bites so quick is because that 2 hours I spent walking around, just trying to have a little look-see and sort of, even though I've been on this stretch before, I was filming, and filming and fishing are 2 different things. And so I didn't really get to see it. I've never seen this swim before in my entire life. So all I was doing every single time I walked around was just flicking a few pellets in, just giving them a little bit of free grub. My philosophy on the river is time spent preparing a swim is never wasted, because if they're in there and you're feeding them but you're not fishing for them, yes, you're not catching, but at the same token, when you put a hook bait in there, and they're generally, there's another one just rolled down there, they're generally so on it and they're so confident that it doesn't take long. And my God, that was testament to not taking long, because even though this is a tiny little chub, it only took, I don't know, 20 seconds? If that, 15 seconds. Well, today is turning in to be a very, very good day. Right, I've literally just put my rod out 10 seconds ago. There's the tip. I've had 5 chucks and it's taken less than 30 seconds to get a bite. We're on the River Wye, Lower Cannon Bridge. They're all chub, up to just over £5. There we go. I'll be honest, it was gone by now for the last couple of times. There it is, there it is, there it is, oh, I've gotta go! That's ridiculous! Oh, wait, this one. Well, as you can clearly see, I'm back in swim number 1. Put quite a few droppers of emp in here just before we left, and we've roved around the last 2 swims. Spent a little bit more time than the hour, maybe 90 minutes that we was expecting the rest of this swim for, because in fairness, the other 2 just kept producing as well. It was ridiculous. But it's about time that I talked you through the gear that I'm starting to use over here. I've been down to the Wye quite a few times now, and I've been caught out a few times as well. I mean, I live over 200 miles away, so the fact for me is that I want to come down here and know that I've got gear that I can tackle a low river or a river that's 6, 8, 10 foot up and pushing through. So my chosen gear that I use is, I've got a 2¼ pound infinity barbel rod. Now 2¼ in these conditions is a little bit overgunned, yes, but the bottom line is you don't have to pull their heads off, and I still enjoy the fight even with a 2, 3, 4 pound chub on here. So every barbel still pulls my arm off, let me tell you. Got a 4500 MCAST BR reel. Now that holds quite a bit of the 10 pound drag line that I'm using, and to be honest with you, again, I don't want to be caught out down here, so if I have to strip 10, 15 yards off, I've got plenty of line right up to the spool on that. Down at the business end, very simple. I've got a Guru micro lead clip. Now these are designed, just like carp fashion, to create a bolt rig, okay? So that when the swivel pulls in, it does create an ever so slight little click. But what I've done is I've bit the swivel down ever so slightly to, instead of that sort of eye on the swivel that goes into the lead clip being round, it's more oval shape now. So what happens is, it's completely free running. On that micro lead clip, however, is something very, very special. Now I'm down here mainly to catch a chub in the barbel, but don't tell the boys that, because I did swing it where I was coming down to test these brand new Guru cage feeders out. They're designed specifically for this type of fishing. They're absolutely fantastic. I'll talk you through them maybe tomorrow, because I've only got a little bit of light left before I have to go to the pub and get a nice steak and chips and stuff like that. But that's a 2 ounce feeder. We do them up to 4 ounces, right the way down to 1 as well, in a large and a small, and they're absolutely perfect for this. And in fairness, I brought them down here last winter when there was 10 foot of flood water on, and this is probably as low as I've ever seen it, and they've not let me down so far. Very, very robust and perfect for the job. On the swivel, I've got a little stick clip, and over the stick clip goes a tiny little tail rubber just to make sure that hook link, which I can change very, very quickly if I need to. And trust me, today it's been speed fishing at times, so I've had to change hook links ever so quickly at times. And the hook link is my ever faithful 10 pound IQ2, my favourite summertime hook link for chub and barbel on particular rivers like this, but all the way down to the River Kennet, the River Lee, the small rivers where you're fishing for very, very shy but big fish as well. Down to a size 10 MWGB hook, which is again my favourite pattern of hook for chub and barbel this time of year. And it's absolutely superb. I very, very rarely lose fish on these hooks, and I've never opened one out. And I had fish last winter to 15.5 pound on them, so I've put them through quite a few tests. And hook bait wise, I've got a little Blitz dumbbell boilie there, and I'm fishing barbel bomb in the ground bait with mixed lips pellets. It's very, very simple. This time of year, early season, they're looking for grub. They spawned probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. They're hungry. They want to rejuvenate themselves. They're looking for the oxygenated water, which we've got up there. And in fairness, everywhere I've swung that, except for up a tree, I've caught fish. Best laid plans and all that. Come back to the first swim, had 2 chub in 2 put-ins, and it's gone totally dead for about 20 minutes, and we were literally just about to move back into the second swim, hopefully to nick a last barbel of the day, because in fairness, when it comes to chub, we've pretty much caught every one of them in the river, but the barbel have eluded us so far today. Okay, we had one earlier on, but you'd figure we'd have bumped into 1 or 2 more, and here she is. She's not a big one. I'm not surprised she's given up because, oh, come on, sweetheart. Oh, there we go, a bit of speed. I was gonna say, I'm not surprised she's just given up because literally on the bite, the freeze ball was fizzing so fast. I mean, she went over there, she burnt my finger. So, God, I love this place. As soon as you work out, or you think you worked out what's happening, it literally just throws another curveball at you. And I changed my hook link actually. So I got one out of my rig box, and it's basically my small river IQ hook link, which is same as the long ones, except it's 18 inches long. And I thought, oh God, I've done it in by literally just sort of fishing a slightly shorter hook link, but I stopped getting the feeder knocks as well, and it was obviously because the chub I'd pretty much caught every single one of them, and the barbel were just taking a little bit more time to get on the feed. So, cool, blimey. 2 minutes ago I thought she was ready. Come on. River Wye, I love ya. Well, there you go. I was going to wander around and fish swim number 2 and swim number 3 again on my second rotation to try and finish this little feature off with another barbel, but I didn't have to. First swim, second rotation, second barbel, more chub than I can shake a stick at. I'm one happy man. I'm going back to the digs for a nice steak and chips, and I'll be back again tomorrow.